What's going on, traders? Welcome back to Start Swing Trade. Let's get right to the stock action and take a look at what's going on right now. It looks like we are finally getting a little bit of a bounce in the market, but it's not massive, right? It seems like we're just playing in line and keeps kind of staying in this hourly range. We talked about this yesterday. Let's get to that chart. You guys can see this hourly range that we're just stuck in, and now it just seems like we're coming back towards the upside of it. And that's perfectly fine, right? I think that now we just need to watch what happens in the next couple of days. And I think this is normal, especially as we keep playing on the daily pattern to just hold up here. And I think that that's very important. Keeping your eyes on the daily patterns will definitely keep you will keep you not going to bearish so quick. And that's what I've been trying to do. And just staying with kind of the momentum. As long as the 9 EMA can hold on the SPY, I'm still bullish. And when the day changes that we get a big bar through, well, then I can switch. But for right now, still in the bull camp here. Let's take a look at the Qs. The Qs a lot stronger today and not looking too bad. This is actually looking like it's trying to set up back through the 390s. And I think that, we got to keep an eye out here, but it doesn't look bad at all. I've been seeing the Qs kind of hold the pullbacks. They're not coming back to 376. They're trying to start holding even more pullbacks now towards 380s. So that's kind of the level that I would keep an eye out there. And we'll see. I think at this point, we got to just continue to watch to see where these levels kind of hold here. But overall, as long as we don't come back sweeping through 370s, we're looking still pretty decent here on the Qs. And just need to continue to watch them go back to the 9 EMAs and catch that next run. We'll see if this already is that next catch today, coming right back closer towards the 9 EMA. It went 9 EMAs at 380.39s. Today, the low of 380.69. So didn't get technically underneath that 9 EMA like it did this day, but we are starting to recover it. Now we'll look to see if we get through these highs here on the left. These are all important highs here. So you got the 384.71, the 384.52, and the 384.88. So if we can really kind of close above 384 tomorrow, this will be looking better as we get closer and closer to what? Of course, two of the biggest stocks that will be reporting. And we can't miss those, of course. We'll see what happens when Apple and Amazon report on Thursday. And you guys see it in the title here. This stock could be the next AI play. What is the next AI play? Well, I'm definitely going to be watching, of course, Apple, as I continue to hear more and more rumors of what could potentially be happening for Apple. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on this earnings report. Of course, it's expected to post its third consecutive quarter revenue decline, yet has increased about 50% this year, right? And of course, this is going to be coming after the bell on Thursday. But more important will be Apple's results of the past quarter to see how things are planning out in the industry, right? Are we seeing a slowdown or is demand still strong? Of course, we'll take a look at back to school spending. Did a lot of people buy laptops from Apple? Something that's coming up, right? Wall Street likes to see, of course, these service businesses grow. So keep your eyes on the service businesses and how that's working in Apple. And then also looking for what AI mentions, right? That's what I will be looking for, Apple and also Amazon. Let's just be honest. Both of them can turn into kind of AI lifts here, as Amazon still has ways to run back towards January 22 high, which is at 170. And I think that you're going to see Amazon surprise here with some mentions also. So these are two stocks that I would not be betting against, at least myself. Like always, you guys take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I could see Apple ending the week closer towards that 200 than I could see 190. Like always, you guys can take a little lunch bet with me. We'll see who gets that lunch. But who thinks Apple at 200 at the end of the week or 190s? Throw it up in the chat. 200 or 190? Let me know what you guys think. All right, it's good to see you guys out there. EKS, Nick Brown, Raz, Hammer, SS Trades. It's good to see you guys in the chat. Say hello and smash the like. Let's keep it going. All right, let's get into the action here today. Let's take a look at the industries that were up today and what was not. Of course, we can talk about my trading action. I didn't do much today. I did get out of VAC That was one that I did get out of. So I'll really quickly just go through that one. Took a little small hit on this one, and then took a small hit on Goldman Sachs as I was looking to maybe play this to the short side for a little bit. But as this came back through the 356, definitely stopping me out there for a little stop out on the day. Nothing too bad there. Chevron was another loss today. So we got like 3 little stop outs today. Was just trying to take some shots to the upside. And now that I see Chevron coming back, it really doesn't look that bad, right? I actually sold this one around the 162 when it was cutting through. Now we're coming back for 162. So I kind of like this pullback. And I don't mind grabbing it again. I might grab it here towards the end of the day as I look to hold off the 160 this time as it's closer towards the 162. So hold $2 risk, look for the move back above towards 166 and 167, which would be about what? That'd be about 5 points higher for a 2-point risk. Doesn't seem too bad there. That's not essentially 3-1, but pretty close. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's keep going. Out of the trade talk, of course, I got a couple more still on in the oil game. I have XOM. That's not looking too bad. PXD. That's not looking bad here. So oil overall still looking pretty decent, even though it pulled back today. LAZR is one that looking a lot better for me. That one's up there now towards 790s. I've got this one since 731. So really going to look for it to push now towards the 817s, the 825s, and really get going. We'll see what happens there on LAZR. Of course, I got in this one just yesterday and now starting to get the lift up almost 8% on this name. So it's been a good day, at least in LAZR, and tech just slightly in the red. Anything cuts through that 42 a little bit further, and I'll probably be getting out of tech. But let's go to the industrials sector today, as that did really well. And what did well in industrials? Well, you guys can clearly see it. It was Caterpillar really leading the way and continuing higher from the open, and a big breakout back to the upside. 287 now on Cat. This, I think, is really going to help Deere maybe get right back up there. A little part of me was fighting myself and not just taking Deere today, because I could see it just coming right back up there. And so it's kind of hard for me not to go after it today. I stayed on the sideline. We'll see what happens on stocks like Paccar and Deere in the next couple of days. But Cat just really just ripping towards the upside and getting the bounce. And this is definitely going to help keep the industrials higher. We'll see what happens in this space, but not a bad day there. And you could see it was a little bit of a mixed bag today. There was some red in this sector, right? It wasn't just all green, as airlines came down significantly today. We'll talk a little bit about some of those. Of course, JetBlue taking a big hit today. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it continued down even from the open. And I thought that this could leak into the airlines. I mentioned that on pre-market prep, and there you guys see it. Airlines leaking right back down. UAL leaking, DAL leaking. They're starting to climb back a little bit, but really these got hit as you're starting to see some of these earnings reports come out. We'll see what happens to these as they start to pull back. Of course, I'll be looking for opportunities on the airlines, but they need to pull back a little bit further. We'll see what happens there. Let's go to technology, as technology is the second leading to the upside, and really the second sector that's up from the open. Everything else is pretty much in the red from the open, and that just goes to show you how much of a kind of mixed day we had. It seems like the indexes are up, but majority of the sectors are down. Not something that you see common. All right, let's see what else is going on here and see what was getting the lift in software today and technology names. Looks like, I mean, there isn't the biggest names here, but let's take a look here. What did well today? Well, Meta getting a little bit of a bounce back. That definitely got a nice little bounce towards 323s and didn't come towards the 310s. So able to hold that pullback and get that next little lift there. AVGO continuing to the upside. And then a stock that has earnings today, AMD. A lot of times we get stocks to come up here on their earnings report as they get closer to it. I talked about, would we make a run there towards the trend line when we were at 110? And there you guys see it. We drew the trend line from a while back. Now we're making that move towards that 118, 119. I can see it maybe doing that in the after hours. And then we're going to see what the earnings actually entitle, what they bring. Will this drive it higher? I think this is just the classic move into earnings. And there was a lot of people trying to hold this at 110 and get in. Whoever paid that 110 and now got that nice little $7 lift there in what, 1, 2, 3, about 6 days. Not a bad little gain there on AMD. I'd be ringing the register just because I don't know what happens on the earnings report today. But like always, you guys choose your own investment advice. AMD with a killer day to the upside. All right, we'll see what other names kind of stand out to me on the upside here, but it was a pretty strong day in certain tech names. Certain ones struggled, like Apple didn't really go up. Microsoft, though, coming back today. And I talked about how this would be a really good bogey for the market. Now, one thing that I did notice, though, is that you really didn't break out of this kind of bearish area. And so that's one thing that I would really keep a watch on, as long as it doesn't come right back down and just kind of not get above the 340s. 340s is so vital for Microsoft to get back over. If not, it could come right back down through that 334. So really a close above 340s is what I want to see on Microsoft to show me that it wants to come back. All right, let's keep going. Catching up in the chat. What's going on out there? Life lessons. We got Walter in the house. How we doing? Gutsy. Who's gutsy to play AMD tonight? I don't know, man. I don't do the earnings calls. Honestly, you should probably just tell me what I think and then play the opposite, because that would probably do you the best. But I'm just going to stay away from the earnings calls. They've always had a tendency of destroying me, and that's why I just stay on the sideline. Caleb says, I got Etsy calls for tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. Mitch, TLT, DXCM getting whacked. We'll take a look at that. That's a very important outlook. And definitely TLT is the bonds, right? And they always say this in financial, like the books, right? The books behind me, right? What do they say? Well, they say that bonds lead. And so bonds are actually leading here to the downside and showing us that we could get some dragging in the market. Things were looking a lot better in the bonds recently when we were back above 100, but now we're rejecting the hold there and now going towards 98s. This could come back to 96, 94, 92s, and maybe even make a new low. And that's what you don't want to see. As you see bonds come down there, it's definitely going to start weakening up the market. We'll see what happens if this really creates that drag outlook, but definitely seeing some pullback. And it's been an insane run, right? Eventually, we're going to pull back. So we always got to keep that in mind. And like I've been talking about, I'm looking for corrections. I'm not looking for breakdowns, but corrections to maybe buy the dip. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at DXCM in a little bit when I get to healthcare, and let's keep going. Raz says, I'm not touching AMD. Don't worry. You and I both, man. All right, let's keep going. Let's get out of technology. We can talk about some other technology stocks if you guys would like, but I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to go to basic materials, as that actually pulled back today. So just be careful there. Coal, though, continuing to the upside. And so now I'm just going to continue to watch these stocks, which ones look like the best. And I think that that's one thing that we need to keep an eye out for, right? METC doesn't look too bad for it to come back up above 9. BTU is still playing that kind of up and down game. I really want to see this start making a move on the weekly. Make a move above 23. Show me that you really want to start pushing back, and then I'll take a shot with you, BTU. I was trying to time it last week. Didn't really get much action on the weekly. I'm looking for it to break weekly highs. If not, I won't play it. All right, let's keep going. Steel's another way to kind of keep an eye out on this sector. I've been watching to see if new core names like that or Steel Dynamics could really get moving. Steel Dynamics getting a nice little move today, up past the 107. So I'm looking for this one really now to get going towards the 110. Maybe I can't take this one on swing trade anymore because I've already missed it, but I can definitely kind of day trade this one. So I'll keep it on mind as we start to see steel move higher, and Steel Dynamics not looking too bad at all here for a move back towards like 110. And then I'll see if it can continue going here. Not a bad stock at all. Steel Dynamics. X, another one to watch there, of course, in steel. We'll look to see if that gets above 26 tomorrow. I'll even set an alert to let us know on live trading. All right, let's go to the leading sector to the downside today as utilities get the flip right back down. And just when you think Nextera is going to start get going, well, there you guys see it. It's right back down there. Excel Energy, right back down. So it just goes to show you these utilities, when they make an up move, It lasts very short. It can maybe make a little bit of a pump. Maybe you get like 5%, but hey, 5% on a utility name, it sounds like to me ringing the register time as you're seeing the utilities come back really quickly. And that's what I've seen on utilities overall. Even when I get a good gain, it's like a 3% gain. You got to be in, you got to be out because these go up and right back down. All right, we'll see what other ones are being mentioned in the chat. I do see some tickers. We'll save them for ticker time, but I do see some interesting names there, especially some like short squeeze potential stocks. We'll talk a little bit about those stocks coming up. All right, communication services also right back to the downside. And that just goes to show you that, hey, it seems like a lot of sectors are starting to pull back a little bit here. And that's kind of common when we're starting to get extended away, right? Now we're seeing stocks pull back, energy, defensive names pull back, financials pull back. And that's when we got to really be careful because we're starting to see the majority of sectors start doing a little bit of a pullback move. And that's when we can really start to break down. All right, let's keep going. Hedge funds are shorting treasuries at historic levels and are the most short they've been at least in 2016. Yeah, that just means to show you that they expect to get a move right back down. We'll just have to wait and see if we finally get that move. But the TLT shows a lot today, really weak today. Even though the market's up, that's not really a bullish type of day for me, as this is just kind of holding in there. But the TLT is just falling off the wagon. Look at that. Look at that 15-minute. That does not look good by any means. All right, we'll keep going, and that's we'll go to healthcare now. That's down 0.6 from the open, and some of these stocks taking another hit here today. Merck had decent earnings, was starting to push up, and then boom, right back down through that 105 spot. So this does not look good. This looks like it wants to go another leg lower. So just be careful on the major drug manufacturers. Johnson & Johnson, we talked about it yesterday. It's getting the bounce today, but I would be staying away from these stocks as I start to see some of these really start to decline. Pfizer declining today. They had earnings. They kept going down. Definitely just not stocks I want to be in right now. Maybe the only one that I'd be looking for is Lilly on pullbacks. But even then, this is starting to look like a head and shoulders top to me and could easily come back down towards 400, maybe even 380s. So just be careful there on Eli Lilly and some of these drug manufacturers. And healthcare overall, not looking the best as of late. As of late, it's been pulling back. You can see it on the weekly. It's had about 2 weeks of pullback. It hasn't really broken down, but there's some sideways consolidation here at the top. Let's see if it can take another leg up. But for right now, a lot of these names pulling back. All right, let's see what else is going on. Merck acting like it reported bankruptcy. Nah, I mean, it's just not looking the best, right? And it did do a little bit of a wick to the upside, but really coming right back down towards that 105 area. And that's not where you want to see it. That's kind of monthly support right underneath it. And then the next level from there around the 102s. All right, we'll see what other ones are making moves. Those are healthcare, communication services, and utilities, industrial, technicals, and basic materials. If you guys have any stock you guys want to cover, go ahead up and throw it up in the chat. We can definitely go to some names that were the top movers of the day. One stock that I called out on live trading, and that's why you guys got to continue to watch live trading if you haven't done so in the past, is I called out AI. And I said, you know, we were coming down here around the 40s. And I said, if we could just recover 41 today and see Microsoft recover on the day and not come back down through those levels, I could see AI getting a lift. And boom, that took off like a rocket there around the 41, went up there towards around 41.50s, and then really reloaded back towards 41, getting that move up there to 44.61. So big move there in AI that you guys could have caught. What a move there. Continuing higher. And this one did an hourly pullback level and came right back to that level and pushed right back to the upside. I think this is important to kind of keep an eye out for. What do I see on this chart all the time that it's doing? It's getting a push. It's coming back to hourly support. It's getting a push, hourly support, push, hourly support, take off, push, hourly support, hourly support. You see the trend that it's continuing to do, and it's continuing that trend. That's what you want to be looking for. Try to find the trends on the bigger time frames so you don't just get stopped out on a 5-minute chart and then wonder what happened there in Tupperware. We'll see what happens as TUP keeps just tuppity tup 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 up there, as 552s should act as some resistance, as we do have a gap above. I think this is it for Tupperware. I don't see it continuing here. Would I short it here? No, I'm playing with fire if I'm trying to short this stock. But if this stock just starts to go sideways up here around the 540s, $6, maybe attempt and fail tomorrow, then it'll be looking a little bit better. It first needs to really fail or give me some sideways consolidation if I want to short this. But man, it's been a big run there for TUP up there towards 544. And trust me, I'm not going to get in front of a train, but we'll see what else is going on. Took your advice. Literally, Mitch got out of TUP with 2,700 today. Hey, man, if that was really based on my advice, hey, well, the truth is you executed on your trade, SS trade. So give yourself a pat on the back. That's what I'm talking about. Looking and understanding from the way that I look at charts and then going about it in your own way, right? The only thing I can do is show you guys this all the time, and especially the 1 hour chart. Like I'll show you this all the time, guys, because what happens here? A lot of the times it's opening action that stops out the retail traders, right? You get this first downside action. People react really negative as this stock is breaking through 5 when it's really just kind of gaining up some volume, gaining up the volume to try to break out through that level. And a lot of times traders get stopped out in the first, 30 minutes of the day, and then the stock starts reversing. Don't be that trader that always needs the opening action. Look for the bigger trade. Look for sometimes the pullbacks to those levels. That's going to give you the best risk to return. You could have been going at it today towards the 475s, maybe risking off the next layer of support. Maybe it's that 459, or you want to risk it a little bit further. You could have risked down towards the next layer around the 425. So you're risking about 50 cents for a move back up above the highs. That would be That would be 75 cents move higher. And so determine what makes sense there. Always risk and return is the important thing when you're trading stocks like this. But if you're able to catch pullbacks, especially on a deeper time frame, you're going to see a lot of these smaller 1 minute traders, 5 minute traders feel washed out, scratching their heads as they see Tupperware come right back to the upside. All right, we'll see what else is going on, and definitely way to go, SS. That's what we all want to hear from, and nice way to tackle TUP there. Shout out to you. All right, let's keep going, guys. Let's take a look at some other action in the market. And I think you're going to continue to see stocks like this squeeze. So just be careful out there. Remember, I talked about Carvana, and I want to keep an eye out on this one. And I said that this one could squeeze. And I talked about this just yesterday as this one was setting up for the 46. And this one could squeeze higher. Why? Because I started seeing auto manufacturers go up. I saw cyclicals doing well. And look at Carvana, nice little move higher, 10% move higher. And this could keep driving, right? So definitely, am I going shorting Carvana anytime soon? No. I am not shorting anytime soon Carvana, because this thing looks like it just wants to keep going. And you got to be careful on a stock like that. Remember, I talked about CarMax yesterday. This could start getting a lift. Cars are looking a little bit better. They're actually getting a little bit of a push as of late. We'll see if this can keep going. Let's see if Tesla can turn around, because if Tesla keeps dragging, that's where I got to be keeping an eye out. If Tesla takes 250 on the downside, that's the continuation topping. That's when I'll start seeing stocks like Ford and GM also make that next leg lower. And that could turn around this trade. So you got to be careful there. But for right now, Carvana is actually looking pretty good. Short squeezing type of stocks that could keep going higher. Affirm, not a bad move today either, right? Pulled back, still kind of holding this gain. We'll see what happens with these. All right, let's keep going. Dude, have a 15,000 trade on TUP. Hey, let's go. TUP. Can't go wrong on TUP, man. Let's see what else is being called out in the chat here. Let's keep going to different stocks that reported today. Marriott is one of those that I'd keep an eye out. It recovered all the losses this morning as this was down there towards 200, right back up there to 204. That's the scary part of the earnings stocks, right? And so you see Hyatt pulled back a little bit today. So if I could get the entry right back to where I got this, if I can get an entry right back towards, let's say, like 122s, I don't mind taking another shot on Hyatt. Hilton pulling back a little bit today. these could still push. Airbnb, you could see that turnaround today. I gave a warning out on pre-market prep about Airbnb's pullback and why was that potentially going to happen? Because of that Marriott outlook, right? And that actually pulled it back a little bit here. So I'd be a little bit careful on Airbnb as it pulls back, right? It's had a nice little lift here. We'll see if it can hold the 9 EMA and get right back up to 154. It hit the resistance, now pulling back. We'll see if it can hold on here. All right, let's keep going, guys. It's about 3:57. We only got about 3 minutes left. So if you guys have any major name you guys want to talk about, throw it up in the chat. I'll keep going through some bigger stocks that had a nice little move today. CrowdStrike had a nice little move higher back towards 166.10. This actually looks like it's trying to get really ready for a nice little breakout. Has pushed from the 160. Pan W continuing towards 253. And so you can keep an eye out on these kind of cybersecurity stocks. ZS is starting to go higher. We'll see what happens on these as they start to push, but not looking too bad there on these kind of cybersecurity stocks. Even cyber trying to get the lift there through the 166 level. So I'm keeping an eye out on the cybersecurity stocks. They could keep pushing. What's the other one? Sentinel One. Look at Sentinel One getting a lift today. This is actually a stock that I might keep on my radar. Will this start trying to fill some of this gap? Who knows? I'll tell you one thing. I've never really believed in Sentinel One, but who knows? This chart actually looks like it's starting to come back and getting some volume here. Nice little lift off the 1650 mark today. As you're seeing this really start to get strong. Keep your eyes on these. This is interesting space. All right, that's going to do it at least for the top movers of the day. I'll take some stocks from the chat and start to wrap it up here. Uber, no. Uber got hit hard today, right back down here. And I think this was kind of one of those that the stock had already done the move, right? I look for a lot of times 1, 2, 3 on the fourth drive. That's where I expect the fail to happen. And here you guys have Uber starting to fail after the fourth drive. Does it mean that it's completely broken? No, I think it's going into a correction phase. So it could do like an A, B, C move. So keep your eyes on this. Will it go lower on that C move? Will it recover? We'll see what happens here on Uber. All right, let's go to SoFi. SoFi is trying to pull back. I think this goes back into the gap. It did have decent earnings, and it almost doesn't make sense for it to get into the gap because it wasn't a bad outlook there, but it also would just be purely technical, right? Come back into that space, maybe even just get to 10. I could see it going to like 997, not all the way down there towards like 960s, and then recovering right back up as it starts to trail. SoFi loves to do a little bit of a breakout, a pullback, and then a continued run. A break, a pullback, and then a continued run. A pullback and a continued run is what I'd be looking for. All right, we'll see what else is going on. Yell mentioned in the chat, and this is just what you show on short squeeze types of stocks. But another thing to mention on Yell is just how quickly this could come right back down. This got to 5 today. It could easily be back at $1, even tomorrow. So yes, Yell with a really nice move, but I would stay away from this. It just seems too dangerous for me in Yellow Corporation. MSTR, of course, Bitcoin starting to come down after the recent move. So this came right back there towards the daily, now starting to reject this. So move back below 334s. MSTR, let me get this right here. A move back below 420s is what you got to be careful of as Bitcoin starts to come down, because this looks really bullish until it doesn't, right? And I think right here, you actually made an attempt to break out and you failed. So this could really break down through this support right underneath 410s and be right back down to 360s. So just be careful there on MSTR. That doesn't feel like, it feels a little bit trappy to me, but you got to watch Bitcoin. Bitcoin's starting to take a hit, and I think that's what's going to affect MSTR. All right, that's going to do it for me. Can I check Wire? I got you, Wally. I'll do that last one there. Wire, not looking too bad, starting to come back. Let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly is going to help us a little bit here. I can clearly see kind of the little bit of a trend here towards the upside. And so as long as this trend kind of holding here, you had a nice little pullback into the space, right? You went back here towards kind of the resistance recently, just went down there towards the 150, recovered it right back to the upside. So let's see if we can start to make our way back here towards the weekly trend line, which is the move to 180 on the daily. Nice little cut through. And this is what we call the undercut and rally type of trade, where you undercut a major support, you give a lot of volume that day, and then you start to get strong after that. So now I would be looking for the trend to kind of continue higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. And that's exactly what you got on these 3 days. 1, 2, 3, higher lows, higher lows. Now you're starting to get this push towards the 180. I'd be looking for pullbacks closer towards yesterday's low, 164.68, to make that shot towards 180 and 185. Does this look bad? I don't know too much about wire, but overall the stock looks like it wants to come back and maybe get that 180. We'll see what happens there. I love the wire. I love the wire too, man. I pay attention to the wire all the time. Of course, where do I get my wire from? I get my wire from Benzinga Pro, of course. You guys know it. We're going to keep bringing more and more Pro. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to start showing you guys a lot more of how we can be using Pro. Definitely going to start using more and more of even this charting service, because the truth is I can do everything on Pro, guys. I just mix it up. We all got our tools that are our preference, but I could do it all also on Pro. So stick around, team. A lot more for you guys right here, of course, on Benzinga, and get ready for some new updates as I keep working in the background to bring us something better, bigger, and it's going to be, I'll tell you one thing, a big surprise right here on Start Swing Trade coming up soon in just about a week. Let's get after it, guys. Let's keep pushing. Let's see what stocks move today. AMD after the bell, a lot of reports after the bell. And look how that stock made that move right there towards 118, right towards the trend line on AMD. That's what I was looking for on AMD. Would we come to the trend line before the earnings? And we're right there. So this is usually where I would be hitting the sell button and then letting the earnings come in, and then letting it do whatever the hell it wants to do on the earnings. But you guys see it. AMD actually starting higher here. Of course, we'll have the earnings report right here on Benzinga. I will be streaming that at 5 o'clock. Don't go anywhere, team. I will see you guys at 5. Take a little break, come back to the market, and see what's happening with AMD and some other earnings stocks. Of course, you can catch all that on Benzinga Pro, pro.benzinga.com. Get your 2-week trial and stay up with all the earnings action. We'll see you next time. Hit the like, and let's keep going right here, only on Benzinga, of course. We'll keep pushing, team. See you next time.